Welcome to Movie Friends. My name is Seth.
And my name is Michelle. Even though we live in a really, really big world, it's easy to fall into a pattern that makes the world seem smaller than it is. Familiar friends, close family, regular job schedule, comfort foods. But sometimes things happen to us that change that mindset. Things that open our eyes for better or for worse.
Sometimes this eye-opening can be due to a negative experience, like a diagnosis that makes us reconsider the things that we spend our precious time with. Other times, it's something good, like being inspired by another person's experiences to the degree that we want to open ourselves up to new experiences too.
Today we're talking with Greg Morris and Roush Niaghi. They are the founders of Popgun POV, a company that specializes in making scenes that take place in a car happen. If you've seen any reality-based TV in the last few years, there's a pretty good chance that you've seen their handiwork.
Their new documentary, Ali Eats America, chronicles years in the life of Ali Allouche, a teenager that undergoes chemotherapy and surgery for cancer in his shoulder. He finds inspiration through Anthony Bourdain's story and other chefs to strike out on the road and eat everything that he possibly can. Ali finds a new door to the world through food, and it helps him see a world and a time past the pain that he is in.
We talk with them about working with the medical system, navigating an ever-changing story, and finding a project that is more than just work, but is actually life itself.
This is our interview with Greg and Roush. We hope you enjoy it.
Well, welcome, Roush and Greg. We're so happy to have you join us. I wanted to start off with how this film came to be. So in 2017, after reading Ali's story in the New York Post, you reached out to document his journey. Your production company, Popgun POV, was originally set out to work on automotive-based programming like Top Gear, Carpool Karaoke, etc. What was it about Ali's story that drew you in, and especially one to make your first documentary on?
Well, we were looking for a project at the time. Weirdly enough, at the time we were slammed, and then the way our brains both work is we're so busy. Let's do something else that's more busy.
Hey, we can relate to that.
Speaking our language.
But so we were looking for a project just in like something that was ours. It was our first in-house thing, and we were trying to find something with soul because I mean we did a lot of so carpool karaoke, so like a lot of like celebrity-based stuff, and just something more human and doc. And she found the article. We were just looking for something, and then she found the article, and our brains were like, "Oh, it's going to be a road trip story." Which, spoilers, it's not really. But we were like, "That's in our wheelhouse," so it jumped to the top of the list.
Yeah, as Greg said, I was just flipping through news articles. I was kind of bored with what we were doing, a lot of car stuff, but it had no soul to it. And I was like, we got to do something that makes us excited again. Like, why did we get into this? And then boom, that New York Post article, I actually flipped past it and then it lingered for about like 15 seconds. I'm like, just go read it. And I read it and I was like, oh my God, these are all the things that I love. Food, cars, like road trips, and then something that's moving and touching and it can help others. And I called up Greg and I'm like, what do you think of this? And he immediately was like, yeah, this is cool. And that's how we kind of got started.
Wow, how did you guys meet and start a business together?
Oh man, we've known each other for longer than we're willing to admit. Uh, we met in our well, she always corrects me and says it wasn't her first year in the industry, but it was my first year in the industry. Like we were PAs and ACs, which production assistants and camera assistants stuff on TV shows years ago, and we were on crews together. We were both living in Vegas at the time, and we became buddies. And then we both ended up in Los Angeles years later, and then we just kept working our way up. And then we were good friends, so we threw each other work. And then we basically got handed Top Gear America when it launched for History Channel. So what we did on that show is we ran everything that was in and on the cars, but it was audio and it was camera and it was lighting and rigging and da 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 da, which is a weird mixture of pieces. Like not everyone has all those pieces, which is how we got the gig. And so the two of us were the field people. And then over the course of a year or two, the show, to brag, the show loved us and we're like, hey, can you guys just start your own company and we'll just go with you guys? So we started as a camera company, which is still largely what we do, bread and butter wise, is
Wow.
specialty camera gear, largely automotive, and then we just started moving and dipping our feet into doc space and other spaces, and then wanting to find content that was ours.
Very cool.
Yeah, we got lucky
Fascinating.
there. We got really lucky there. Right place, right time, and I had saved every penny since I was 16, so it worked out really well.
Very good. Nice.
I love it. I love
Roche
it.
with the dough.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, adequate amount of dough.
Right, right. Dealing with a child that's going through cancer treatment is a very, I can't think of something that's more personal and emotional for a parent. How did the family react to you guys wanting to do a documentary on this story?
I mean, initially dismissive would be the answer. And
Hmm.
understandably so, because we didn't know them, they didn't know us. Uh, we reached out via their GoFundMe and just kind of cold emailed. And Jen, the mother in the movie, kind of just didn't really think about it. Some weirdos from LA like want to
Yeah.
talk to us, whatever. And then we followed up, and she's like, "All right, they emailed me twice. That's weird. So I'll give them a chance." And then the story goes that she handed all that responsibility off to her best friend, who was like, "I'll look into them." And then she actually called us and was like, "Actually, this sounds interesting. You guys might want to like give this a chance." And so then we talked
Mm.
to the family, and the family went, "Oh, like because they had some weird experiences with like local news and
Oh, okay.
so human interest stories, and so they
Right,
had a few times where like people were trying to like, hey kid with cancer, be sad,
right,
kind
right,
of thought that's what we were going for, and we were like, no, we just, I want to go get the food, like that sounds like the
right,
fun part to me.
right.
Did you have to
Yeah.
pitch your idea or what you forward thinking of what you wanted this to be? Or was it just like, hey, we're just going to follow your journey and we just want to come along for the ride?
Yeah, we pitched it. But it was a very very simple pitch. Is because his entire journey is inspired by Anthony Bourdain, and we basically said, well, this was inspired by Bourdain. What if we filmed you like Bourdain? And so
Yeah.
they were just kind of like, oh, like I maybe just mechanically worked in their heads of like, yeah, that thing, let's do that thing. But it seemed to work.
Mm.
And also, I think after that we talked on the phone for a couple months. We actually didn't Zoom or anything, so they didn't know what we looked like.
Mm.
It was a big. We didn't realize this until after the fact that it was a big visual reveal. That they're like, what do they look like? Are they weird? Do they look like they smell? And honestly, they had
Wow.
no idea. Now Zoom is like the visual aspect is normalized after COVID, and we got there. And I remember Jen opening the door, and she had this big smile, and she thought her rendition of what she had built in her head of what we look like is so funny. I don't think it's
Wow.
very
Wow.
appropriate, but but that was like just the comedic aspect of it. But then yeah, they're like, oh, they thought Greg was much older, like an older man, like
Like
Mm.
my
maybe
age
close to
now.
be like maybe like his dad. No, like his dad's age. And they had no idea what to expect out of me. So they were just having fun with it. I'm sure. Like, 'cause, Allie's siblings were all younger. They were like little. And they're like, what do you think she looks like? What do you think he looks like? So they were just making us up to be like monsters or something. And then we show up and they're like, oh, okay. We can make jokes and be ourselves around them. So that kind of chipped away at their like the ice basically and kind of broke the ice with them.
Wow. That's so funny.
We didn't even think about it at the time. I was just like, we'll just
Totally.
call them
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
or
Right.
text
Right.
them when we get there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we know what you guys look like. You don't know what
Right.
we look
Right,
like.
right, right.
Right. Right. You have a lot of footage in hospitals and in doctors' offices. And it also seems like Jennifer is doing some of the filming as well. I don't know if that is
Is that
true
true?
or
No?
That's all
not.
Roche.
Oh, good.
The
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
the hospital, yeah, all the hospital stuff is me. Yeah, filming.
Okay. How
Like,
how was it working with medical administration to get the footage?
It was interesting. So we shot at the Walter Reed Military Medical Facility in outside DC in Maryland. Um, and amazing. They're amazing. They're great. They've been amazing partners this whole way through. But it is not only were we filming in a it was a military hospital. And it was a pediatric ward of a military hospital. So there was some paperwork, there was some hoops to jump through, and then we come from kind of a guerrilla background.
Mm.
So once we got our foot in the door, it was kind of easier to ask forgiveness than permission kind of
Right.
thing. And
Right.
so yeah, we got a lot of footage that, and then because they had rules like don't film other pediatric work, don't film other kids, don't film
Sure.
other families, and we're like obviously we focused on Ali, and then but they've signed like for us to show the movie, they had to sign off on it. So like they're happy with the footage. It's just sometimes we kind of bandited some of that
Yeah.
footage. I mean,
Yeah.
Roche basically moved in with them.
Yeah, it was more or less like 5 months of sleeping on the floor in a small hospital room, and
Wow.
it was incredible. Honestly, it was like one of the most transformative times of my life because
Wow.
I just came from like we were just filming thing like random thing, random thing, random thing, and then being in this room filming something with so much purpose and just a reminder every second of how precious life is without sounding like a cliche because you see a little baby walking, past and they're sick and we don't know what's going to happen and then you have Allie laying there and you're like nothing matters like this is
Yeah.
this moment and what are you going to do with this very moment? So we decided to laugh as much as possible. We were hysterically laughing the whole time, which was not what I expected. It was like
Mm.
we challenged the three of us, we challenged each other who could make each other like who could make who cry first. And
Oh,
it
Mm.
was awesome in that room. We had so much
wow.
fun.
So this is a little bit more on the technical side of making a doc, but you have a wide variety of material that's available to you and a wide variety of aspect ratios that you're working with the doc. Can you talk to us about the challenge of like making creative decisions that make some of that stuff usable?
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that, and let me know if I go way too far into the weeds because I'll talk all that nerd stuff all day long.
Sure.
But so we knew very quickly that it had to be fast and dirty because there's
Yeah.
two people like in the field, two people made this whole movie. So
Yeah.
like there's like we were both shooting. I had a sound mixer strung to me while I was shooting. Like we were just run and gun, and so we knew it had to be fast, and so we knew quickly that it had to be 4K log, just everything 4K log above the board, so we can try to mix different camera types as best as possible. We landed on the Sonys very quickly
Hmm.
because just low light, they're great for low light, and then we had a prime kit with us, so because we knew it was going to be a lot of the restaurants within the hospital. There's a lot of low light
Right.
conditions, so
Right.
we kind of reverse engineered everything from there. With just we knew it was going to have to be small 4K log low light. Now what do we do? And then
Right.
part of the car training, the weird thing about rigging cars is you're mounting things and you're mounting for multiple shots. It sounds obvious, but it's like look at like carpool. Like you have
Mm-hmm.
single wide two shot dirty two shot. You just that. So that's how we shot a lot of this. So we
Hmm.
had a bunch of little cameras, and you like when you watch the movie, sometimes there are four cameras rolling at once in a restaurant because there's a wide over there, and I got this single. So it was just how can we make it small and mobile
Hmm.
was really the big thing. And then also jumping back to the point of forgiveness and permission, DSLRs are kind of amazing because they
Hmm.
just look like someone's camera,
Right.
and
Right.
Mm-hmm.
so you're not rolling in with the giant, camera on your shoulder. You look like you're just
Right.
taking a picture of your kid, maybe, and
Right.
we're filming a movie right in front of you, so that helps.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the small aspect of it helped me a lot because a lot of the times people were thinking I was taking pictures and they didn't know the difference. So doctors would come in doing their rounds and they're like, "Why is there a camera pointing?" And I would make sure to not film anyone that didn't want to be filmed.
Sure.
I was very, very careful with that, very respectful about that. And like, I don't know if we want to get into a little bit of stylistic as to why we picked the things that we did, but it was more like there's a lot of close-ups of Allie, and there's that is a reason because technically we couldn't have him mic'd the whole time.
Yeah.
In the
You know,
hospital.
there's just they're the
Yeah.
hospital. There's just too many things going on. He had to move around. He had too many cables or everything on him. So a lot of the time we're like, all right, well, I need to be closer, but also it needs to not look like it's just a close-up ENG shot of someone that's just
Yeah.
sweating and suffering. So let's make it look as beautiful as possible and as stylistic as possible. So and also the kind of the beginning of the film is like you're in the hospital with Allie and his mom. It is pretty intimate. So we thought like this is a really cool way of showing that intimate side and being so close to them during the hospital portion where he's like talking or laying in bed. And that's kind of the technical reason that led to a stylistic visual purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, we love how the film becomes a story not just about Allie, but really a story about a mother and a son experiencing the worst of life and the best of life. I guess I don't know if this leans into it, but stylistically, did this also just form the fact of now you're going to focus on not just Allie, but both of them as a pair?
Yeah, that was kind of built into the DNA pretty early. Like,
Mm.
Mm,
well, because if you watch the movie, the the way the GoFundMe functions is like it was the two of them, and this was our thing, and we built the
yeah,
map, and so it was always kind of just baked into the story. I mean, it's Allie's story, but Jen is clearly the B.
sure.
She's the
Right.
number. She's second on the call sheet.
Right.
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 I mean, they were kind of building their relationship together as well, which was something interesting to watch because he's the eldest and he's a teenage boy and he was like hanging out with his friends more than anything than his family. And then the second cancer hit, and life as he had known at that point, up until that point, kind of just changed. And he
Mm.
couldn't hang out with his buddies and he couldn't go party. And he was forced to connect with his mom, whether or not either of them wanted to connect with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how, like, okay, what do you like? What do you like? And I'm sure there was a bit of trial and error, and then they landed on food docs and they started bonding off of that. And now, because of that, both of them will say like that hospital, that time of their lives created a bond that is so special and like no other. And it's only something
Yeah.
that those two experience together all the time. And that was really, it's an honor but to be able to be part of that and to be able to film that and share that with people. And they love that too, that they could, Allie's going to show his kids and, other nieces and nephews and they'll see, oh my God, like what an intimate, s- stressful and special time of your life that is completely covered, that it's documented and
Right.
then shared with the world.
So Ali was really inspired by Anthony Bourdain's journey. Can you describe what it was like for you guys to be in production on this doc, and then Anthony Bourdain takes his own life?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, we were deep in. I mean, if you spoilers if you watch the movie, it happens midway through, and then
Yeah.
the basic concept of the movie theoretically was that one day he's going to meet his hero, and so that's
Right.
what we were kind of aiming for. It's like, oh, we'll go to a bunch of restaurants, and then we'll probably go to New York, and he'll meet Anthony, and that's the end of the movie. And
Yeah.
then halfway through, you find out that's not happening.
Yeah.
And then one as a filmmaker, that's disappointing. That's selfish, but true. But then as a
Yeah.
human being, you're watching this kid fight for his life, and his hero takes his own life. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of complex emotions about that at the time. I mean, yeah, that's the best way I can answer that. While we were doing it, for me personally at least, I'll say this: like you just do it. You're documenting. You it's what's
Yeah.
happening. But like it took a little while to be able to watch some parts unknown again without
Yeah.
those mixed emotions.
Right. Right.
I mean, I remember when it happened, I was in the house, the Danko Allouche house, and I was in the room with Allie, and it's right there on CNN, Anthony Bourdain, and we, I mean, I froze mid-step, and
Mm.
I just looked at him, and he couldn't even talk for like 10 minutes,
Right.
and Jen came and she just like hugged him and asked him if he's okay, and he was just like, it was like the shock, where
Yeah.
he just didn't even know how to process it initially. And, you know, even to this day, and I think a lot of people can resonate with this. Yeah, Ali says, like, I just feel like I lost a friend, like a family member. And there's that void where you can connect with someone and you read and reread Kitchen Confidential and all his books and watch and rewatch all of his shows. And you're like, he says stuff that I can't articulate. And he
Mm-hmm.
makes me want to take a chance and jump and try something new. So it was kind of it was yeah it's really sad. I mean, of course, it was just like it was re really sad, and then it was really sad to watch someone who was looking forward to meeting him in like 6 to 8 weeks, and it was just
Right.
like, oh my God, that's so close, and then why, and then also feeling guilty about it because why was he so alone? And then
Yeah.
yeah, it was a interesting time because it made him reflect on like where Bourdain was in his life and where he felt isolated and not part of something. Where Ali, he realized like he is so in the middle of this like this tight-knit community, and there's so many people and people reaching out, and people caring, and from the smallest thing to like the biggest thing. And he realized like how not alone he was. And it made him think about cancer and that mental health way as well, which was interesting to watch someone realize that in real time and document it. Because that's all Greg and I could do. We couldn't control. This isn't
Right.
reality TV. It's you just
All right.
document it and you go, that sucked. That really sucked. And how do we process this? And it's like you just keep filming and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my biggest takeaways from the documentary is the power of community, especially the food and hospitality community. It's so
Mm,
powerful, it's so supportive, it's so welcoming. And you document not only Ali, but the chefs that are serving and supporting him along the way. I mean, it's so cool that you were able to document this as well. And everyone was so willing to be a part of it. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it actually that connects back to what we were saying at the origin of this project was us. You know, we were working in LA on a bunch of things, and we wanted to find something that was human. And like, Roche has a line that I'm going to steal because I'm talking first. And it's about human kindness, and
Yeah.
it's so simple, but it's like, you know, when you work in our industry, there's a lot of jaded people, and there's a lot of egos, and there's a lot of that type of stuff, and it's part of the package. But like, you're used to people wanting something. It can show you the uglier side of humanity sometimes, and we work on this thing, and then everyone, it's what can we do for you? What can we do for Ali? And it really did re reinstill a lot of our faith in humanity. I was just
Mm,
like, oh, I forgot nice people are nice sometimes. Oh, that's
Right.
cool. And then
mhm.
so the chefs, I mean, two a one, like we're incredible. Like the restaurants are
yeah,
incredible.
no.
Like just everyone's just incredible. And you realize that they're sometimes people just do nice things because it's nice to do nice things. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were blown away by the generosity and just people coming out, reaching out. I mean, at one point, someone offered Jen if she wanted any Botox, like to that level where, like, they're like, whatever you need. You want a spa day? You want some Botox? And I was like,
Wow.
no, no,
Oh.
thank you, not right now, maybe later. But I
I
mean,
hope that was
it's just,
authentic.
everybody just wants to help. And I am using that word everybody. Like, everybody hears a story, they're like, wait, what? And invitations, like the people that maybe couldn't offer anything monetarily. They're like, when you're in town, please, please come over. I just want to cook you my famous dish, my one
Mm.
dish. My kids love it. It would be an honor. He's gotten so many invites for people to go over people's homes and to basically do a homestay and let
Yeah.
them cater to him. I mean, how amazing is that gift? That's the greatest
Yeah.
dish, by the way, a home cooked meal. Bourdain says it, of
Absolutely.
course, and you're like, yeah, that is true. So much love in there. It
Mhm.
really did reinstill a lot of that faith in humanity for me, and I would say both of us. Yeah, it was the things that we film sometimes is just not not the best people, and we're giving them a platform, and being able to amplify this story, that means everything to me.
So you guys have mountains of footage, and obviously, you have a runtime perhaps in mind, and difficult decisions have to be made, which I think sometimes people who don't think about films a lot don't understand, right? Was there a
Mm.
food experience that didn't make it into the doc that you wish could have? Was there something that was like really tough for you guys to cut?
I don't think
Yeah.
so. There are food experiences that got cut, but they were for story, and
Mm,
and like some of them were like we went to a few after New York, and it was like, but it's like once you hit that, spoilers, when you get to New York in the movie, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to go to another restaurant right now. Like you hit an emotional crescendo. So there were decisions made like that. So it's like, yeah, there are probably, there's definitely a handful of restaurants that aren't in, but like, I mean, some of the food was good, but like,
Like
I don't
other.
feel like we're missing anything because I think it would have just hurt the overall shape.
mm,
We trimmed down like the restaurants that made it into the movie. We trimmed them down quite a bit. I mean, you have an entire meal basically in tops 90 seconds for most of them because at a certain point you're like, all right, we're just watching two people eat food.
hmm
Like,
Yeah. That was the hard
and
part of the edit. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, yeah, and that's when we realized like what is like we'll appreciate the food, appreciate the artistry that it went to making that meal for Allie and Jen, but then also they're not professional hosts, so they were just cracking jokes and making fun of themselves and each other constantly. So we looked at each other like many, many times while we're filming a scene, and we're like, there's a lot here that we could make, like we could figure something out here. And we realized like there could be like just kind of a humorous point in almost every single restaurant because everyone can relate to that. Like not everybody knows what an amuse-bouche is or,
Right.
what like certain like culinary terms. But the beauty of it is that Allie is learning alongside us and like oh, busting out the dictionary. So it's kind of it's funny. It's fun to laugh at them. It's fun that they poke fun of themselves, and that was really interesting and cool to find in our own arsenal of footage. And we're like, let's do it this way
hmm
because we didn't have like someone that's very articulate and initially, and then Ally becomes more articulate towards the
Right.
end.
Yeah, it was fun watching his journey and his palate develop. Like he tries, I think, a soup, and he's like, "I think there's mushroom in this. I know there's mushroom." Then he asks, "Is there mushroom in this?" And they're like, "There's no
Zero
mushroom in this."
mushroom.
That was cute. As documentarians, you and your crew, you're meant to be impartial and disengaged. But with the food, did you guys get to try any
Mm.
of it? Or you like, can I have a bite, please?
Very little.
Very little?
Oh man,
Oh,
Oh no! Don't tell us that.
no.
Greg more than me.
Definitely. Well, Roche is, she can't eat anything. So,
Gotcha.
I was
yeah,
vegetarian and now I'm vegan, but
I hear you.
still,
I'm similar. Like the pig
yeah,
chopping, the feet chopping part, I was like, oh, I get
yeah,
it. But yeah, wow.
Yeah.
it's a bit much. Yeah, yeah. Greg got a bit more than me, but not much.
yeah, not
Yeah,
much. I mean, they said there was two of us sometimes, doing audio, manning four cam. It was just go, go, go,
right.
go, 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 and then
Yeah,
I was
Right.
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, I really would have liked to eat that.
Sometimes we got
There,
scraps.
Scraps.
there's a few outtakes of my hand reaching into a shot and just grabbing something off Ali's plate. So
Well,
Nice.
that's I say scraps because there was like a couple times it was multi-course, and the two of
Sure.
them would be like, "I'm going to explode," and they didn't
Yeah.
want to be rude, and they're like, "You guys need to help us with this," and Allie would most of the time Allie would in the middle of it, Allie would take Jen's food. And then another course would come, and Allie's like, I can't, I cannot, I just cannot. I'm up to here, and we like, there's still dessert. So yeah, we
Uh,
try to help or hide the food somehow. That
yeah.
was
yeah,
great.
the gnocchi scene, I did get a bowl of that. That was delicious.
Nice.
And then, but most of them were like one of the Missouri restaurants is called Blue Stem. We're only in there real quick. Uh, but this is better, shows how the movie went. Like we filmed and filmed and filmed, and the second we cut, there was a Sonics next door, and I was starving, and so I ran over to Sonics and got a burger after watching them eat all this very fancy food.
Right.
Nice.
I ate the rest of Jen's like pea soup or something at Blue Stem. It was delicious. It was
Was
like
it
three
good?
spoonfuls. Yeah, it was like three spoonfuls. I was like, oh my God, this is delicious. So yeah, we got a little taste here and there.
Yeah. And you were with the smells, so it felt like
Yeah.
it's like a very immersive experience too.
Very,
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very immersive when you're in the kitchen getting B-roll and the wait staff doesn't care and you just
Oh,
you get elbowed and stepped on and no one cares and like later on you have like bruises all over your body. Yeah, that was very, very immersive.
well, that was something that I noticed. I've worked in food for many, many years, and I even managed a doctor's office at one different part of my life. And you have two environments that are so. Uh, uh, on one hand, they are all about the customer experience. It is all about quick results, the best results, making sure that the person is cared for and taken care of. And then at the same time, they are the most closed off,
Hmm.
don't care, got to get the job done, cut my hand, wrap it
Yep.
up and keep going, like whatever. And so
Yeah.
you're the first part of the movie is in the medical world, and then the second part is in the restaurant world. And so I just thought it was interesting. And as I was watching, I did think of you guys. I was like, wow, what terrible environments to be like in the way. And I'm sure
In the
you
way.
guys were
Often.
as small as possible. And like working in restaurants, we always say, make yourself small. Like you make yourself as there's moving around people, you're bumping into your coworkers all day. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing in a hospital. When it's go time, no one's saying, oh, excuse me, can you please move you're reaching over the
Yeah.
bed. And so, yeah, I did not
Yeah.
envy either of those environments for sure.
Yeah. It's you kind of have to like dance around them and just be apologetic as much as possible and just try to get the hell out of the way. But also at the same time, get your shots.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what was Ali's reaction to the finished project after years of being followed and he's finally able to see the story?
He's a fan. Uh,
Yep.
so if, I don't know how much you guys have ever been around chemotherapy, but there's a thing called
Yep.
chemo brain, and it's very real. And they're just chunks that Ali barely remembers. And
Yeah.
so one of the fascinating things about him watching the movie finally was he vaguely remembered things, and then he would see it and be like, "Oh, that," or "We went to that place, right?" Like he got to like relive the journey because he that first chunk straight out of the hospital, like he was not making new memories well.
Yeah, while we were editing this film for a million years, we would give verbal updates to the family and let Allie know. Like he's like, yeah, and you get the occasional question, like, are we gonna all look like idiots? Do we all look stupid? And
Sure.
like
Sure.
Greg and I would say, yeah. I mean, no,
That's what we're here
we'd
for.
say no. You guys were never
Yeah.
you were never stupid, so no, you're not gonna look stupid. But uh, it it was some time from when we finished filming to when they saw it, and it's almost a year ago that we screened it privately for the family, and we rented a movie theater because I didn't want to watch it on a TV. I thought when you watch a movie about yourself, it needs to be on the big screen.
Yep.
So it was one of those theaters that you can order food, and so they ordering food and getting drinks and whatever. And we showed this film to them in this private screening, just the family. And
So still like 20 people.
unfortunately, Greg and I were like, and the front row, and so we kept like trying to turn around and see like, is this part hitting? Is this part hitting? And we didn't know. It was like, yeah, it was really difficult because these seats were like big and luxurious and leaning back.
Right.
And we were like, oh my God. So the movie ends, and the credits roll. And, traditionally you're supposed to wait till the credit rolls to the very, very end. And there's like a PS at the end that I really wanted them to see. And immediately, like, Jen gets up mid credits and she comes over and she hugs me and she's sobbing. And she was like, I love it. I love it. And then I
Hmm.
start crying. And then Allie rushes over and Allie's like, it's, it's perfect. Like, that's what I remember now. Like, I remember
Mm.
that. And that was really important to us that this needs to be true to Allie, like true to actually what happened. Making this like it's easy, it's crazy like how it can seem like you'll edit it a certain way and then it kind of seems it seems different than what actually happened, or you feel a different vibe than what actually happened. So that was
Right.
nice to be embedded in, and like seeing edits, and you're like, no, it gives an impression that he's too frivolous about this, and he doesn't care about that, and that's not exactly how it goes down. So we were very meticulous with how it went down and wanted it to be true to that. And the entire family was crying and they loved it. Allie's brother Silas said, I can't, he goes, this is like a real ass movie. I thought it was, yeah, because I thought it was going to be a home video.
Yeah, you spent all that time on a home video, bud.
We end on a very quick shot, but it's one that communicates the most about like what this journey represents, which I think is restoration, right? You have that one chef talking about the idea of the restaurant and restoration, the place where the priests go to eat and be restored. And so the very final shot is Ali playing basketball again after
Mhm.
we see him go through the process of believing that he would never be able to. Now, that footage comes way later in the timeline of production. So
Mm.
when you got that footage, did you immediately know that like you had to end it with that?
Allie sent me a video of that him throwing the basketball. And he was talking about how, oh, look at this new gymnasium that I found to play ball in. And I'm like, all right, cool, that's great. I watched the whole thing and I see that he throws the ball with his left arm. And I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. It gave me immediate goosebumps. And I think I sent it to you, Greg.
Yeah.
And I was like, look how amazing this is. You know, something that you say that you'll never be able to do again. And now you're just kind of casually doing it on Tuesday.
Right.
And it was just such a right fit for the final shot in the film because you had to go through all of this to get to this point where it's like, it's really, nothing is impossible. You can make a version of what you really want to happen happen. And he did just that.
That's great. I love the ending. You can make anything possible. Thank you so much to Greg and Roush. If you haven't seen Ali Eats America yet, be sure to add it to your watch list so that you can see it as soon as it's available.
Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.